And hooray! Alrighty guys, welcome back to the Empire Collective Cup. This is the Platinum League, and it is the final game or final set of games in the league for our player here down to the south of the map in the blue, Mr. Yo, and his 11th and final game of the series. He's currently sitting in third place, I believe, or second place, I can't remember now. It was a while ago since I looked at the league table, but yeah, he is obviously going to be going up against Lojza, who's playing in the purple, or the pink, up to the north of the map as the Britons. So Britons versus Mongols, and this could be an interesting set of games because I think both players have the potential to beat each other in this series, so it could be pretty close, depending on whether Lojza's having a good day or not, I suppose. And also because whoever wins this set of games actually has a realistic shot at getting third place in this tournament, so we'll have to watch very closely, because if Lojza takes a win here, he could actually get third place in the event, depending on how Chris and Bagiofro do in the weeks or in the games to come. Now, this should be technically the last week of the tournament, but there's a lot of games that still haven't been played, so obviously there's a few delays here and there, but that's kind of expected. Getting 12 players to schedule 11 weeks worth of games on time is no easy task, I can assure you, and a lot of players, it's kind of, skipping their scheduling and not doing a very good job of it. But all in all, things are going fairly well, I think, and actually most games have been scheduled on time. There's just a few players who are kind of letting it down a little bit, and the event will probably just last another week or two while the final games are being played. But this is Mr. Yo's last set of games here, and he will surely want to go out of this tournament with a bang. So, yeah, Mongols versus Brits. The map, of course, Descent Ring, and this map was remade just a moment ago. Mr. Yo called for a restart, and that means that he has now used his restart up in game number 1, and for the remaining games in this series, Mr. Yo cannot call to restart a map, which could be a real problem for him later down the line, because game 4 in particular can be pretty nasty sometimes due to the extremely random nature of the maps. So we'll see what happens. But right now, Lojza, TC coming up, and Mr. Yo doing the same on this right side. Now, I personally think that this map will favor Mr. Yo a little bit. He is a strong water player, and you guys remember, in fact, I think Mr. Yo beat someone on this map before. I just can't remember who it was. It was so many weeks ago now. I think it might have been Bagiofro, in fact. I'm not entirely sure. But he did get a very solid win on this map in the past. And I know in War is Coming, his team, they practiced a lot on this map as well. Obviously, it does play very differently in 1v1 as it does in team games, but it's a really cool map, and it's pretty challenging to the players, that's for sure as well. Both players, of course, starting with a transport ship as their scouts, and you can see both players picking up some sheep at the edge of the map already, scouting around, seeing what they can find out on the edge. And to be honest with you, I mean, I'm looking here, and Mr. Yo, his scouting information, it's insane, absolutely insane. He's almost got the entire edge of the map explored. I mean, this is awesome for him, because all this information is going to be so valuable later on in this game, because he's going to know exactly where he needs to go out to the edge of the map in order to get the resources, where the tree's going to be, where the gold pile's going to be, where's the stone, and that information is going to be really, really awesome for him. Lojza, he's got a bunch of information as well. He has only found 3 sheep though, which is not a huge amount compared to Mr. Yo's, well, I don't know, 20. He's got so many sheep out here, it's great for him. But yeah, obviously that's why Mr. Yo at the moment has a pretty hefty score lead. Now, Mongols, of course, getting the hunt bonus versus the deer, or on the deer, not versus the deer. And Lojza, of course, getting the Britain's sheep gather bonus. Means that both players are going to have an interesting start bonus. It's going to help both of them achieve the feudal age a little faster than perhaps other civs on this map, since there's only deer and sheep available. There's actually no boar, which I think helps the Briton player a little bit more. And getting a fast feudal time, of course, going to be handy, as both players will be looking to fish and take a lot of these big fish here, and also to transport their villas out to the edge. Most players on this map will want to get their villagers out to the edge of the map pretty quickly in order to take the bigger wood out here on the edge of the map. And obviously you see these little tree lines, they're really quite bad. There's not a lot of wood here, but I gotta say, Lojza's map looks pretty good. I mean, look at these trees. They're right outside of his TC. Of course, he's got his lumber camp on the one on the top here. And that basically means that Lojza doesn't have to build another lumber camp here. He's going to be able to take all of these trees pretty comfortably. Whereas Mr. Yo, this one clump of trees at the north, it's a little bit far away, and he's not going to want to build a lumber camp there, probably. It's probably not worth it to him. So we might see Mr. Yo transporting out to the edge a little faster. And Lojza, on the other hand, I mean, he doesn't have to worry too much. He's got plenty of wood here. It's actually really good for him. But, yeah, in the chat, Kleiner Schwarz, oh my goodness, Kleiner Schwarzer Fleck, sorry, Kleiner Schwarzer Fleck says you can't transport sheep, can you? No, you can't transport sheep, sadly. It would be cool if you could. That would give Mr. Yo a huge advantage, because look at this. He's setting up a sheep colony down here, and that's a lot of extra food. But sadly, you can't transport them. That would really change this map if you could. Thank you very much to Bullen470 as well for subscribing. Welcome to the Warlords, my friend. Thank you very much for your support. It is much appreciated. And yeah, keep being awesome, of course. So, Mr. Yo right here, taking quite a bit of wood already, and you'll see Lojza doing the same. Looks like Lojza's gonna get his dock first, however, and I'm a little concerned. His food income looking a little ropey at the moment. He's taken all of his sheep so far. He's gonna have to go for the deer next, but that dock is up. He's gonna get it up a little faster, and he's gonna start fishing a little sooner, and that could really help him out. And I think on this map, it's really worthwhile taking some shorefish as well, just to supplement your food a little bit. There's 200 food in each shorefish, and there's a decent number of shorefish around the island. Obviously, both players not going to want to mill this, because that's just ridiculous. Why mill? That's stupid, but it's still worth taking the shorefish, I think, in my opinion, on this map, if you want to get a little bit of a faster feudal time. But depends what emphasis the players are going for. If they want to go for fish, then obviously go for fish. It's all good, whatever way you do it. And I think, on this map as well, it's fairly hard to harass vills. And if you look at Mr. Yo's TC, I mean, all of those villagers, they're pretty much underneath his TC here. And that is kind of huge, because that means Lojza's galleys are going to be doing very little damage out here. As soon as they come into range of the vills can hop in the TC. TC can shoot the galleys, and of course it's super effective, because it's a building versus galley, and that makes it do bonus damage. So Lojza, I think, going to struggle doing damage to these vills at the moment, but we'll see what goes on for a few moments more. I mean, in the future. I mean, we don't know whether or not he's going to be able to find some vills anyway. He might just be able to pull that off. But yeah, you see Mr. Yo taking the shorefish. That's possibly going to get him up to the feudal age faster. And you see Lojza at the top of the map here. He's starting to take some shorefish as well now, but he's nearly out of food. In fact, look at that. His last deer is being taken, and it looks like Mr. Yo going to have a lot more food a lot faster as well. And I think that's because he made his dock a little later, and he put a few less villagers onto wood here. But he's going up to the feudal age now on 23 population, and he's still got 3 sheep left. In fact, 4, because this one here pretty much on full, well, has a lot of food left on it anyway. I mean, 95 out of 100. That's a lot of food right there. So this is pretty awesome for Mr. Yo right now. He's really fast. And he also has loads of extra food available. He's got so many sheep here that when he gets to the feudal age, he's still going to have food to take. Whereas Lojza, on the other hand, Lojza has no sheep left, no deer left, and once he gets to the feudal age, well, he's basically just relying on his fishing ships for food. So I think Mr. Yo is in a better position, that is for sure. Thank you very much to Kololom, I think, for subscribing. Much appreciated. Welcome to the Warlords, and thank you for being very, very awesome. Yeah, so the sheep being gone for Lojza is kind of a big deal. And I can't help but wonder where those sheep have gone, because if you look at the food gathered, they are basically the same. So how is it that Lojza has lost his sheep here? That is a good question, and I'm not entirely sure. I may have missed it. Someone said something about him killing his sheep, but I'm not sure. I didn't see that, so I'm not entirely 100% on what happened there. But yes, anyway, looks like we're going to see a pretty standard kind of grush build here. Yo moving his vills to the wood. He's also moved out to the edge already, and as has Lojza, both of them sending the vills out to the better wood lines out at the edge. But Lojza's TC placement is nice. He's still got plenty of wood here. He's not actually built a mining camp though, and that means that his vills very, very inefficient on this gold, and that's less than ideal. Thank you very much as well to Zavia Tenka for resubscribing 10 whole months. That's a long while. That's coming close to a year, my friend. That is a long time. So thank you very much for supporting the stream and what I'm doing with Age of Empires and all that stuff. Yeah, so Lojza here, third dock, sorry, Mr. Yo even, this is Mr. Yo in the blue. Third dock, actually a little later than Lojza's. I'm surprised Lojza managed to get his third dock up so fast here, but he has, and he is going to be able to get those galleys out. Mr. Yo going around the right hand side. I'm not sure if that is the right thing to do. He might be looking for some vills, but he's not going to find anything here. His best shot would be to come here and maybe hit the gold, but even then, the TC is going to be in range, so I'm not sure. Maybe he's trying to head off the transport ship, sending vills out to the edge. But transport ships are pretty beefy, and galleys, you know, it takes a long time for a galley to take a transport ship down, so not entirely sure what's going on. Yeah, Ojan, obviously the Brits have the sheep bonus, I'm aware of that. I pointed that out earlier on. But what I'm saying is they both gather the same amount of food in total, yet Lojza has no sheep and Mr. Yo still had 4. So how are they able to gather the same amount with the same amount of sheep and deer? It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. That's kind of... And Mr. Yo being able to keep his alive. I'm not sure. I missed it. Anyway, Mr. Yo losing his fishing ships out here. This is a pretty bad start for him. If he loses 2, that's going to be pretty huge. But he's not alone. Lojza also losing a couple of fishing ships already. And that leaves both of them with less ships than they started with. Anyway, let's see. Fish 1 apiece. And that means it's pretty even, in fact. With Lojza being 1 galley behind, which is not a huge amount. 1 galley is pretty insignificant because, well, when you're making them in groups of 3 and there's a little bit of time delay between, like, you know, when your opponent's galleys come out and when yours come out, he's still actually even overall. I mean, 8 now. 8 galleys each. Lojza moving out to the edge. He's going to take a mill here. He's going to take the deer, and he needs food because, well, with 1 fishing ship and only 2 villagers taking shorefish, that is not enough food to go, or to keep, sorry, villager production going. You see Lojza now, his TC falling idle, whilst Mr. Yo, he keeps his going because he's still got the sheep under the TC. So he is still able to... he is still able to keep the villagers coming out, and that's pretty damn huge because that is going to give him a vill advantage, that's going to give him a net resource advantage, and that means he can spend more resources on boats, more resources on going to the castle age a little faster. Who knows? Not only that, but Mr. Yo has got a huge number of sheep down on the south of the map. I mean, just look at this. He's got 3, 6, 9, 12 sheep down here. He's got his 4 deer as well. He has got no shortage of food, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does pull ahead a little bit in vills for a while. We'll see. Or at least get a faster fletching time. Mr. Yo here is doing fletching right now. Lojza, he doesn't even have his blacksmith yet, and this is where Mr. Yo could get a pretty big advantage if he engages well with this additional range and attack that the fletching upgrade will give. A little bit of nice micro from Mr. Yo as well, taking down one of those ships very quickly, and he is now only 1 ship behind with fletching coming in, or fletching done, and that should allow him to either push Lojza back or take an advantage. Lojza in the chat there, lag strikes again. Of course, we had a few lag problems with Mr. Yo versus the Viper a couple of days ago. You can't really do a lot about it. I mean, it's not Mr. Yo's fault that it's laggy. He can't help it that his country has a big firewall that makes it very difficult to have a smooth connection with someone in Europe when he's in China. It's just yeah, not really his fault, but obviously it's just something that these guys are going to have to deal with. A little bit of lag is expected, I guess. But yeah, both these guys 1 ship each, and a little bit concerned for Lojza here, because obviously once these deer are gone, he's only got 1 sheep and a berry patch, whereas Mr. Yo, just so many sheep, he's not going to run out anytime soon. He's already started walling up as well. And of course, he's got to be aware of the fact that on the edge of this map, a landing attack could come around, or a land attack could come around, archers for instance. And of course, he's going to wall this left side. He'll also want to wall the right side as well later on. But for now, mostly focusing on the water. Mr. Yo going to be taking the single galley or 2 galley advantage, but I don't know if he's hold that for long. As I say, Lojza's going to be making galleys as well at the same time. It's going to be a little bit of back and forth in the galley numbers, but it's all going to come down to the next big engagement, because with a little bit of micro, you can really change the sort of the face of a water fight around. Lojza coming in, he's looking pretty good there, taking down one of those ships immediately and keeping those galleys close together. If he fights this well, then he could actually get himself a huge advantage on the water and actually, you know, do a lot of damage from the water as well. He could find villagers to kill. He could even take down this TC later on, once he gets War Galley and Bodkin Arrow and actually outranges the TC. For now, obviously that is not an option. But looking at the food income for both these players, it should be the case that Mr. Yo is ahead, and he is by about maybe, 50 food. It's not a huge amount yet, but I do think that Mr. Yo will be looking to have a faster castle time, that is for sure. Now, one thing about this map is because you don't start with a TC, because it is a nomad start, you do have to spend 100 stone in order to build your TC. And a lot of times on water maps, players will build a market and they'll sell 200 stone, and then they'll buy a little bit of food to, you know, make their castle time a little faster still. But with only 100 stone, that is not quite as effective. So getting a little more food, natural food from the edge of the map, is going to be a huge advantage. And this is where I think Mr. Yo has, you know, a real big sort of trump card up his sleeve, and it should be interesting. But I'm looking at this graph on the bottom of the map, on the bottom of the UI thing here. Lojza taking some stone right now, and that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure. There you go. He's taking stone on this right side. 4 villagers on stone. That could indicate he's looking to take some towers or build some towers. It could indicate that, who knows? Who knows? He's going to sell it at the market or something. I don't know. But right now, Lojza's got a lot of gold, 430 in the bank, and I mean, Mr. Yo looking pretty perfect at 200 gold, almost exactly there. And Lojza, yeah, he's definitely using his market. Oh, wait, no, that's Mr. Yo using the market. What's Lojza doing? I don't know. Either way, Mr. Yo, he did use his market. You saw him selling the stone there, buying a little bit of food. He's very, very close to the castle age, just 100 food away. And it looks like he might just win this fight on the water as well. It's hard to say. We have a quick look at the galley count. It actually turns out that Lojza's the one ahead in the military here. He's got 26 galleys, and Mr. Yo has 24. So it's pretty close out there, but Lojza actually with a small advantage. But Lojza here, he's going to click up castle right now, using that market, of course. And amazingly, Mr. Yo doesn't quite make it up as fast. I'm actually very surprised at that. I really thought Mr. Yo would have the edge there, to be honest with you. But who knows how Lojza managed to pull that one off. I think what probably happened there was Lojza has 1 less villager, so with 50 less food spent, he was able to click up slightly faster, whereas Mr. Yo, he has 1 extra villager, and he is about, you know, the time it takes to make 1 villager behind. So it's kind of unexpected. I really did think Mr. Yo would have the faster castle time there. Turns out that Lojza was able to get enough food from these berries and these deer that he was able to just make it in time, and just narrowly beat Mr. Yo clicking up. So that's actually really good news for him. He's made good of what was a pretty bad situation with the sheep. Mr. Yo, though, walled off already on the left and the right hand side, so it's going to be difficult for Lojza to hit him now, and it looks like the focus on this game will really be on the water at the moment. And I think Lojza here, he's also doing you see him doing a little bit of farming on his TC. He's got plenty of gold here, and he's going to be obviously looking for War Galley, looking for Bodkin Arrow as soon as he reaches the castle age. But for now, both players at 26, 27 military. It's really very close, and it's going to take a real engagement on the water and to kind of break this sort of stalemate, that's for sure. So we'll see. Mr. Yo taking a lot of gold right here. I'm looking at this at the edge. He's got 5 vills on gold there. He's got 6 on the gold in the middle, and that's like a little overkill, really. You need 6 vills to do like 4 docks galleys. You don't need 6 plus another 5. You don't need 11. So I'm not really sure why he's got so many vills on gold here. I'm looking to see if he's maybe got a barracks or something, but I'm not sure yet. This engagement, though, gonna be pretty close. Lojza's staying in because he knows that War Galley is about to finish any second now. Mr. Yo gonna have to retreat away as he sort of runs out of units here. He falls behind in galleys, and then the War Galley upgrade comes in. He might decide to flip back around once he gets War Galley and Bodkin Arrow himself. Lojza's Bodkin Arrow a little bit later here. But obviously controlling the water is going to be pretty important. You do a lot of damage here with the water control. And there you go. Mr. Yo with War Galley and Bodkin Arrow as well. No! What? Mr. Yo doesn't have Bodkin Arrow? It said he was researching it. Did he cancel it? I've got no idea. Whatever happened right there, Mr. Yo doesn't have Bodkin Arrow, and that could end up, well, being a little awkward for him. Lojza at 16 military, and Mr. Yo wasn't 16. Lojza should just about stay ahead here, but he is going to fall back, and I think that's because defender's advantage. Mr. Yo, of course, fighting just outside of his docks, and the reinforcements are coming in at just the right time to be able to push Lojza away. That Bodkin Arrow upgrade then, I have no idea what happened to that, but it turns out Mr. Yo decided he didn't want it after all. Kind of strange. I'm looking right now though, Mr. Yo doesn't have a barracks, neither does Lojza, so it seems like both players are definitely committed to water control here, rather than going for any kind of land aggression, though it looks like both of them are going to be kind of, walling off the flanks to make sure that nothing can go on the land. But yeah, Yo actually coming out on top there. I'm really surprised about that. He was behind in military count. He was behind in the Bodkin Arrow. In respect to the Bodkin Arrow, obviously, Lojza now has an extra attack damage per shot that he fires. And yet Mr. Yo still comes out on top in that situation. Really kind of strange that happened. And he's now 5 military ahead. They're both on 4 docks. And other than that, I mean, there's really very little in it. There's the same number of villagers. It's just Mr. Yo with 5 extra military units, and both of them doing ballistics here. The thing I don't get though, how has Mr. Yo not noticed that he doesn't have? How has he not noticed this? He doesn't have Bodkin Arrow, and I'm pretty damn certain it said it was researching it. So this could be really awkward for him. Obviously, sheer numbers, are going to be what turns the battle in his favour here. An extra 1 attack is not going to make a huge amount of difference at this point, because there's not a large enough number of galleys for it to really make that much of an impact. It's going to come down to the fact that in this situation, Mr. Yo has 8 more galleys on the water. That should allow him to get the win. Obviously, both of them have ballistics now, so these kind of stray galleys on the flanks trying to attract arrow fire are not going to work. Mr. Yo will win the water here pretty conclusively. Lojza are going to run away, and that was a really bad fight for him. Even with, like I say, Bodkin Arrow, it doesn't make a difference when your opponent just has too many numbers. He needs a lot more galleys than that in order for Bodkin Arrow to make much of a difference at all. But yeah, obviously Mr. Yo here taking a big advantage on the water. And what is Lojza's response going to be? Well, it's going to be awkward because he will lose a bunch of villagers out here on the gold. That gold pile just finishing up, perhaps the right time. But the fact remains, these villagers are now in danger as they run into the TC, and Lojza gets a lot of idle time. The sound volume, man, is so loud today. I don't know what's going on. It's really loud all of a sudden. Is the game sound too loud? Let me know. But yeah, Lojza here, going to lose all these galleys, going to lose a load of ills. And that is going to be really, really freaking awkward for him. So he's going to have to do something on the land now. The problem is here as well, these villagers on the wood exposed from the water. These villagers here exposed from the water. So winning water really is everything. And Mr. Yo, his timing absolutely perfect. He still doesn't have Bodkin Arrow, and 100% doesn't have Bodkin Arrow. And that's a lot of dead villas for Lojza. He's probably going to lose his TC. If he loses his TC, he's going to lose these farms. And that is, of course, 7 farms right there. Sorry, 3, 4, 5 farms. Sorry, I can't count. I can't count. 5 farms. And obviously, if he loses those as well, that's a lot of wood down the drain. So Lojza's called GG. Mr. Yo going to get the win in game number 1. And that was kind of, I don't know, I think I expected that. I expected Mr. Yo to get the win. I just didn't expect him to be able to do it the way he did. Lojza, he had the advantage going up to the Castle Age. He had the military advantage. He had the tech advantage because he was faster. He had War Galley first. He had Bodkin Arrow first. And yet Mr. Yo still managed to win. with that one engagement right here where he managed to just tip the favour and get ahead by 5 or 6 galleys, at which point he pushed that advantage. He didn't even bother with bodkin arrow, and he managed to just overwhelm Lojza at his docks, taking down this dock, taking down all his ships, and then of course cleaning things up. But I'm very surprised at how he did that. I mean, like, I think it was just the positioning and the timing more than anything. It didn't even involve much micromanagement, because you can't micro galleys when ballistics has been researched. So there you go, game number 1, and rather surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, but in an unexpected fashion, Mr. Yo is going to get the win.